Guys, this is finally here. I won't get into why this is slightly delayed. It's mostly due to my own fault, so I won't get into that. I finally have 3 different versions of Junho's 6th Japanese mini album called Winter Sleep, and I opened them all up to look at my photo card polls and also to both watch and listen to the content so I could talk a little bit more about it. But I ordered these 3 versions from Amazon Japan, and usually from Amazon Japan it just takes 2 days to get to me, which these did, but again, there are issues I won't get into that were my own fault. I also pre-ordered these, so they came with these bonus clear folders, and you get one for each. So this is what the clear file looks like. It's all the same image of Junho, and then you have this on the back. So we're going to start with version A here, and as I've explained in previous videos, 2PM's solo releases in Japan all follow basically the same format. So for version A, you'll get a CD that contains 5 different tracks and a DVD which contains music video content and some behind the scenes making of for the jacket shoot and music video shooting. So this is the front here, and I have watched the DVD on this, so let's zoom in to here. So you see that there's 5 different songs here, and I'll talk about my thoughts concerning these songs later. But you get 2 different music videos. So you get the main one that was posted on 2PM's YouTube channel called the original version. There's also a lip sync version you see below there. So this has more of a close-up, I guess, shooting style than the original one. Honestly, they're not too much different, but you do see some different shots in that music video. And then the last bit is the making of. So you kind of see him shooting the jacket shoot for the artwork that you see in this album. And it was kind of cool actually seeing him do that, because he actually wasn't, so this is all an indoor shooting, and it was, I guess, green screens, so technically he wasn't standing in front of a green screen. It was more of just a plain white background. And I really appreciate the artwork, or I guess the art direction, and that this album took. And we'll see that as we flip the photo book, but see here the DVD, and apologies, so you see here's the CD, and then the DVD. And this is the OP strip. So for the photo booklet, you see that there's this really nice artsy kind of retouching for his images. We have some lyrics and more of him just in these just, I guess, wintry painting scenes, really. And I like how they made it so it wasn't super realistic of him being in the outdoors, what you would expect for him doing a winter album. Instead, doing this more artsy take on it, I think makes it a bit more dreamy, and it goes with just the whole theme of winter sleep, which I thought was kind of cool. Next we have version B. So if there's any version for a 2PM solo Japanese album, typically I recommend getting version B, because this is the extended CD version. So in addition to the 5 songs you get from all the other versions, you get 3 bonus tracks, which I think always makes this version the one to get. So we have the front here, the back. So in addition to the 5 bass songs that was on version A, you also get Junho, I guess, remix versions in a way. So he made, so track 6 here is 365, and this was originally on 2PM's Guilty Love single. And he did this Winter Party remix. Track 7 here is one of my favorite 2 p.m. ballad songs of all time, and I really loved listening to Junho do this. It's just really lovely just to see when you have the original member who wrote the lyrics just sing the song on their own. And I'm sure watching him perform this live was very touching during his concerts. And then the last track here is the snowy night version of the title track, Winter Sleep. Alright, so let's see what it looks like inside. So here we just have the disc here, and the OB strip again. And then the booklet this time is thicker, though mostly because you do have 3 new tracks, so you have to get some more pages dedicated to the lyrics. And again, we just have this nice painted effect going on these images that just makes it more serene and peaceful. So I really like all these images, and we get so many more images too here than version A. So that's another reason why I really like version B, typically the best. All of the versions you could get for these solos. Then it's the end. Now the last version here is the regular version. So this is just the CD only version, and it contains the 5 bass tracks that was on all the other versions, and it also includes the instrumental to the title track, Winter Sleep. So normally I would say that version B is probably the best version to buy, but if you're on a budget, this is, I think, definitely worth buying instead of version B, because the new songs are all on just the 5 bass tracks, so you'll be getting all the new content on the CD. You just won't be getting the remixes or the Junho versions of the 2 p.m. songs. But to look at the back here, again you have the 5 songs and then the instrumental. And the spines on all of these versions are basically the same as are the CD design. Here we have some more of this painting effect, and what I do appreciate about these singles is that they do have different images for all their versions, so you're not getting repeated pictures. Now getting back to the full 8-song track list, I did want to discuss a bit about my thoughts concerning this album. And to start off with, I do want to say I really love this album. It's really refreshing hearing Junho play around with a different sort of sound than we're used to. So this is the first time he's released a solo mini album in winter. So I would say that the songs on here are much different than what we were used to listening to for his summer releases. But I think he really achieved releasing a winter album, and while still making it sound like Junho. He has this sort of signature, I think, to his songs that is very recognizable and something that I definitely gravitate towards. So to start off with, track 1 is the title track, Winter Sleep. I love the music video for this, and it's a very chill track, but it's not boring like sometimes more wintry songs could be. He plays around with different styles here, and there's definitely different influences that he didn't really play around with on his previous album, 2017 SS. I would say there's much more the jazz influence or at least a subtle jazz influence on this album, and some other more experimental sort of sounds. I'm definitely not very good at explaining music. Overall, I just really enjoyed all the songs. And then again, there isn't a Junho song that I dislike, so I'm very biased. I'll put that out there. But Winter Sleep is definitely, I think, a very wise choice as a title track, both with how it fit the season, and it was something different that we're not used to seeing from him. And then for track 2, he continues with a more slow, relaxed sort of song, but the subtle jazz influences makes this really interesting, especially with how he experiments with his vocal tone and singing fluctuations, and I'm not really sure how to describe it well, but there's definitely a lot of creativity in this track that's really pleasing, I think, to listen to. Track 3, Too Late to Tell, also continues with a more chill vibe. So I would say the chillest songs on this album are the first 3 tracks. I think of those 3 chill tracks, track 3 might be my favorite, though I do really love Winter Sleep as well. But I just really like his approach to doing a more wintry song, but not doing a flat-out ballad. That is usually the obvious thing to do around this time of year. And then we get to track 4, Frozen Heart. So this one, out of all the songs on here, is my favorite. I just really love the slow build-up that happens, and then it just punches you in the gut with how where it goes. And I bet this is amazing watching him perform this live at his concerts. And I don't know, I feel like whenever this song plays, I just want to replay it again and again because it just gives me chills listening to it. And the last new song here is Torso, which is the most upbeat song on this album. And even though the name's a little weird, I don't know why it's called Torso. It's a lot of fun, and I think a really good way to wrap up the base 5 songs of his album, since it does sort of lean more towards what we're used to hearing from him and from his summer albums. I think this is a nice segue into what's to come, hopefully this summer. I would love him to release another summer mini album in Japan or something in Korea, though he needs to take a break. He's been working way too hard lately. He just has all these constant activities and projects he's been working on. I don't see how he sleeps, honestly. He needs to take a bit of a vacation, and it's well deserved, I think, with what stuff he has been pumping out, especially this past year. And getting to the bonus tracks that are just exclusive to version B. The Winter Party version of 365 is a fun take on 365. I definitely enjoy the original 2 p.m. version of 365 more than this version, but I'm sure this is a lot of fun to do, especially in concerts. And then for track 7, his version of Time Spent Together. I think, as I mentioned earlier, this is one of my favorite 2 p.m. ballad tracks, and I loved Junho's version of it. I don't know if I could compare it to the 2 p.m. version that I've known for so long and love, but it's really refreshing again to hear him sing this track just by himself. And it reminds me of how much I really loved Woo Young's version of Milky Way Galaxy of Matabokoa. I just really love 2 p.m. performing their own solo take on songs they wrote for the group. And then we end this album with a remix of Winter Sleep, and so this is the Snowy Night version. So this is more of a traditional ballad that you would usually think of for a winter album. And while I definitely prefer the original Winter Sleep title track song to this version, it's nice to hear a slightly different take on a song. And it's always interesting to see how songs could change with slight variations. I will say that it's slightly disappointing that the 3 bonus tracks are not new songs. I think maybe we were a bit spoiled when Junho was releasing his mini albums in the summer and releasing 3 bonus tracks that were all new songs instead of remakes of previous songs we've heard. But I can't blame him for doing this. I'm surprised this album even exists, to tell you the truth, in the middle of all of his crazy activities that he's been doing, both in Japan and Korea. So I'm very thankful that we do have this album from him, and I think I like this more than his last mini album, 2017 SS. That's how much I really enjoy it, but I really want him to take a break, as I mentioned earlier. He needs to take a break and just enjoy life instead of have constant activities back to back. So that was an unboxing for versions A, B, and the regular version of Junho's Winter Sleep mini album. And there's actually 2 more versions of this album, one which hasn't been released yet, and that is the LP repackaged version. So the repackaged version doesn't have any new songs on it, and it doesn't have a concert DVD like the repackage for 2017 SS had, but it is in an LP size package, and it comes with a lenticular cover. So I do have that pre-ordered on Amazon Japan, and I'll do an unboxing of that when it arrives next month. But there is another version similar to what happened with Wooyoung's release. So there's a fan club version which comes with a CD, and on the CD contains the 5 bass tracks in addition to 1 live track. So for Junho's fan club version, it contains the live version of his song Fine, which was on his 2017 SS album. And there's also a bonus DVD. And before I forget, all these came with photo cards too. And so the ones I pulled was this photo card, and then 2 high touch cards. And so too bad I'm not in Japan and I could use these. And this is what the backs of all of them look like. So that is it for this unboxing. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful, and please listen to Junho's Winter Sleep album if you haven't already. You can watch his music video on YouTube now that 2PM's Japanese music videos are not blocked everywhere except in Japan. And you could also listen to the Korean version of Winter Sleep, which he released on his birthday. And you can buy that on iTunes. So please support Junho and his latest mini album, and let's hope that he takes a well-deserved rest and he will continue doing what he loves, making music, and hopefully land some more great acting roles.